So have you ever shamed yourself for not being disciplined enough or not being consistent or not having enough willpower? The good news is that isn't the secret to success, but the bad news is it might be something a little bit deeper. So I want to talk about this experiment that they ran at Stanford University back in like the 60s and 70s. It's called the marshmallow experiment. And essentially, they gave kids between 4 and 6 years old, they gave them one marshmallow. And they told them if they could wait about 10 or 15 minutes and not eat the marshmallow, that someone would come back and give them a second marshmallow. They followed these kids for the next like 10, 20 years. And the kids who waited for the second marshmallow performed much better on things like their SATs. They had better BMI. They had more quote unquote life success. They earned more money. They had more relationship success, things like that. And originally, the researchers determined that if you could delay gratification, in other words, if you had willpower and discipline and you could delay gratification, you were more likely to have success in your life. But here's the deal. The kids who ate the marshmallow weren't impulsive. They were actually operating out of survival. Researchers looked back at the original data and they also reran the experiment like many years later. And they came to the conclusion that it actually wasn't about delaying gratification and willpower. You see, the kids who ate the marshmallow, it wasn't about impulsivity. They were actually operating out of survival mode. Their pain-fear gap was actually very narrow. Researchers looked at their socioeconomic backgrounds, and they grew up in households where they didn't have enough, where trust was broken, where they didn't have stable home lives. And when that trust was broken consistently, waiting actually felt unsafe. Now, the reason why this is important is if you are trying to build a business, chase a big goal, the trick is not about consistency and discipline. It's actually about a sense of security and safety in your brain and body. You can outrun your pain, but you can never outperform your fear. So the next time you aren't showing up for yourself the way you want to, the next time you're shaming yourself for not being consistent or not being disciplined enough, don't focus on the pain. I want you to focus on the fear. I want you to ask yourself, what is it that you're afraid of? And dive deep here, because the secret to success is not in discipline and willpower. It's actually in a sense of security.